Hi guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. So today I'm going to share with you my December growing TBR video. So these are all of the books that I added to my Goodreads TBR in the month of December, as well as all of the channels or sources where I found out about the books or heard about the books and what caused me to add them to my TBR. This is part of a series that I do every month on my channel, and so if you would like to watch any of my past growing TBR videos, I will leave a playlist to those linked down below in the description box. So without further ado, let's get into this list of books that I added to my Goodreads TBR in the month of December. So in the month of December, I added 14 books to my TBR, which is kind of on the higher end if we're talking about number of books that I add on a monthly basis. But I watched a lot of good videos, and this was during the month of Bookmas, and there was a ton of content coming out, and so people's favorites were starting to come out, and yeah, I still have not finished watching all of the Bookmas content that I wanted to. I still have quite a long watch later list on my YouTube feed, but we're getting there, slowly but surely. So let's get into these 14 books. So the first book that I added is Winter House by Ben Gooderson. This is a middle grade book that is about a girl who goes to stay at a hotel over Christmas time, and a mystery is kind of presented to her and she tries to solve it. It has been compared to Green Glass House, which I read in 2019 and really enjoyed. So I went ahead and added this, and I heard about this from one of my real life friends who is a middle school teacher. So she recommended that and I added that one. The next one I have here is called Night Spinner by Addie Thorley, and I heard about this from Murphy Napier's winter releases that she was excited about. This is a retelling of The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and it is a Russian-inspired retelling. So that's all I know about it, and that's all I really wanted to know about it because it sounds fantastic, especially for a wintry book, and so I went ahead and added that one. The next one I have on my list is This Tender Land by William Kent Kruger. I had seen this a few different places, but the thing that pushed me over the edge was when I heard Katie at Life Between Words talk about it on her Instagram account. Since then, she has put up a couple of videos, and in one of the videos she mentioned this as well, but I saw her first talk about it on Instagram, and that's what kind of really pushed me to put this on my list. This is a historical fiction that is about 4 little kids that are running away from a training school, I think, out in the West, and it was a place where they sent the Native American children to, and it was just a really ugly place, and then these 4 kids decide to run away from it, and it's the tale of their kind of experience. So it sounds really, really fantastic though. The next one I have here is If Only I Could Tell You by Hannah Beckerman, and I heard about this one from Gabby Reads in her video, The Most Surprising Books of 2019. This was one of her Book of the Month books, I think, and it sounds like it is about a broken family who, like, there's estranged daughters and granddaughters that haven't met, and there is some family trauma that happened that nobody talks about, but it's the one thing that links everybody together, and it's just kind of the exposition of that, I think. That's what I know about it. But it sounded really good, and it has a really pretty cover, which never hurts. So I added that one. The next few that I added are middle grade. I added quite a few middle grade to my list this month. The first one being The Line Tender by Kate Allen. I heard about this first on a new channel that I found. It is called Colby Sharp, and he is a 5th grade, I think, teacher in Michigan who puts together videos about the books that his kids are reading in class and the books that he's reading to them. And he'll sit down, like he did one for winter break where he sat down and went through all of the books that his kids were taking home over break. And it's like, 25 books. And it's just, I love videos like that because it's showing what kids are actually reading and what they're enjoying, but also from a teacher's perspective, like what is he providing to his kids to read? I don't know. I have absolutely fallen in love with his channel, and I've been binge watching a ton of his videos. Great content if you are into middle grade books. So But anyway, so I heard about the line tender first from him and then also from Krista from Books and Jams. Her and I were just talking and she had brought it up. But it was in Colby's video, 5 Unforgettable Middle Grade Novels of 2019. And this is about a girl who's dealing with a lot of grief, and her mother was a marine biologist and had a lot to do with like the sharks and diving into the ocean. And it's just about her and how she's dealing with grief, and that's really all I know about it. But I've heard multiple people say that it is an amazing book, and so I definitely want to check that one out. The next middle grade book that I have here is called My Jasper June. This is by Laurel Snyder. I also heard about this from the same video from Colby Sharp, and this is about another girl who's dealing with some grief, and it's in the middle of summer and she meets another friend called Jasper, and it's just about their friendship and how they learn how to be friends to each other because they're both dealing with grief, and it just sounds absolutely amazing. Another middle grade book that I added is called You Don't Know Everything, Jilly P by Alex Gino. I have no idea where I heard about this from. I know I saw it on a video and I went through all of my history on YouTube and I could not figure out where I heard about this book from. However, it sounds amazing. It is about a girl whose sister is born deaf, and she doesn't really know how to handle it. And then she meets another kid who is deaf and an ASL user. And so it's a lot to do about the deaf community and sign language and how we interact with people that don't have the same abilities that we do. And it just sounds really, really fantastic. This is by the same author, I think. This is the same author that wrote George, which I have not read, but I know is well loved and I've heard really great things about. So I added that one. I also added The Lonely Heart of Maybelle Lane by Kate O'Shaughnessy, I think is how you pronounce her name. And I heard about this one a couple of places, but the video that I watched that kind of made me add it was Gavin from Gavin Hetherington in his anticipated 2020 releases. He talked about this, and it is about this little girl who is obsessed with sounds, I think, and the only thing she has from her father is a recording of his laugh, and then she hears that on the radio, and so she goes in search of the person that was on the radio, and it's kind of the story of that. It sounds really, really heartbreaking, but amazing as well. So I added that one. All right, I think the rest of these, oh wait, no, I have two more middle grades. The first is called When Stars Are Scattered. This is by Victoria Jameson and Omar Mohammed. I also heard about this one from Colby Sharp. He has a complete dedicated video just to this. It is a graphic novel. This is the only graphic novel on this list, but it is about life in a refugee camp. And it is, the author, Victoria Jameson, is the author of Roller Girl, which was one of my favorite graphic novels of 2019. But it's by her, and it's the story that was told to her by Omar Muhammad, who lived this life. And so he was raised in, or not raised, but he grew up in a refugee camp and told her the story, and she made the graphic novel out of it. So sounds really, really good. And then the last middle grade book that I have on this list is called Some Places More Than Others by Renee Watson. This is, our town that I live in has a like community reads book that they read every, I think it's February. This is the pick for this year for the middle grade section. And then they have Renee Watson's other book called Piecing Me Together is the teen and adult book. So I figured I'd read both of them. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be bringing Renee Watson in to have her do an author talk, which would be amazing because I would love to go see that. But I added both of these to my Goodreads TBR. I picked one of them up from the library today, actually, and then the other one I'll have to get later. But these are both books. One of them's YA and one of them's middle grade. Some Places More Than Others is middle grade, and then Piecing Me Together is YA. But they both have to do with Black culture and acceptance and race relations and privilege and all of that kind of stuff. Familial things as well. And so I added both of those. And then we're into YA. Another YA book that I added to my list is The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. And I heard about this from Haley and Bookland's anticipated 2020 releases. This book, like of all of these, sounds amazing. And the cover is like, oh my goodness, that cover. Ugh. This is a story about Mozart's sister. So it's historical fiction, and it's all about his sister, who is also a marvelous musician and wants to be a musician, but can't because she lives in 18th century Europe where women don't do things like that. She pretty much can be a musician until she gets to marriage age, and then she has to get married and give that up and be a wife and a mom and do that. So it's pretty much that's the story. And then like one day somebody finds her and says that she can make her wishes come true, but it comes at a sacrifice and whatever. But this is, I guess, Marie Lu's first foray into historical fiction. So I think that will be interesting to read. I've read a few of her other books, and they've all been fine, but this just sounds so interesting. And like I said, this cover looks so good. So that is my other YA book. All right. And then I have, let's see, The German House by Annette Hess. This is one that I was just kind of perusing through my library's Overdrive app one night, seeing kind of what's out there. And I found this one, and this sounds so intriguing. It is about a woman who lives in Frankfurt, Germany. And this is post World War II, but it's during the Auschwitz trials. And she is hired as a translator for the trials. And as she's sitting through all the trials, she's starting to question her family's involvement in the war and what they don't talk about and why they don't talk about it, and just kind of questioning her whole like cultural existence. And it just sounds so interesting. So I definitely added that one right away. Another one I added at the same time for the same reason, just scrolling through Overdrive and found it, is Dear Edward by Anne Napolitano. And then after I added this, I started seeing it around in Bookstagram, and I think it might have been a Book of the Month Club pick for this past month. But this is the story about a little boy who is the sole survivor of a plane crash where like 183 people died, and he was the only survivor. And it's him dealing with life after that and why he was saved and what his existence means and all of that. So I added that one. All right, and that is everything. So those are the 14 books that I added to my Goodreads TBR in the month of December. If you have read any of these books or are interested in any of these books, please leave your comments down below. I would love to chat with you. And other than that, I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya!